Libra, hello. Good morning from Florida. Where are you? We had a freeze last night and it's cold. I don't like it. I'm not a fan. But hopefully you can hear me. I'm going to try and speak clearly and enunciate, which is a challenge for me to not just blur my words together sometimes. But I've got the space heater on here, and I just don't think I'll be able to make it if I don't have some heat on me. That's still boiling. Well, my tongue is warm now. Some pumpkin spice tea. Nice and warming. All right, let's see what's going on. I feel sort of flustered this morning. It's probably the cold, you know, but the dogs were extra this morning as well. Maybe you keep animals. Maybe you're smart and you don't keep animals. No, I love them. I do love them. They are also, you know, they'll get you out of bed when you don't want to get out of bed. And sometimes that's literally life-saving. And sometimes you just want to stay in your sleeping bag a little longer. Or your comforter, or whatever you sleep with. So maybe you're feeling a little flustered, a little rushed or something. I'm a Taurus. We're both the Empress. So yeah, maybe something about your Empress energy, your maybe you have a Taurus placement, but something about your sort of fixed energy, your Earth energy, is feeling rushed. Something in the tangible, something in the 3D. And nobody likes that. So let's see what's going on, how and if that relates to your divine union. We're going to pull from here first. Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles is about balancing, you know, two or more ideas, two seemingly opposing ideas, right? So maybe if you're feeling rushed, or if you're feeling sort of pushed in any way to do something different, this is kind of standing your ground, and knowing that the way that you do it is what works for you. This is a very fixed energy. You know, a lot of people say that Taurus is the most stubborn sign, or the fixed signs are the most stubborn signs, but every Libra that I've known, and I've known quite a few, they have a very fixed nature about them. They're cardinal signs. You guys are cardinal signs, but they're very fixed on their forward motion. They're very fixed on their path of whatever direction they're going in. Now, whether that direction is divine or not, we'll see. But I do feel like you guys are staying very focused on whatever your path is. You could be dealing with we've got a Pisces and Virgo here, the High Priestess and the Hermit. Now the High Priestess is, I've accidentally burned her with sage here, but she's guarding her chest. It's like she's been burned before. So maybe, you know, and Libra is it's an air and fire, well, air and cardinal, which is fire, as a supplementary modality. And air and fire are both masculine. So if you're the feminine, right, because I'm reading for the feminine right now, if you're the feminine, you could be very hyper independent, right? You've been doing things, you've been balancing it, you've been multitasking. This could be you kind of like doing it all, right? Very like lady boss energy. You know, you make the calls, you call the shots, and you've been doing that for a substantial amount of time, that maybe allowing someone into your heart space is difficult. Maybe getting back out into the dating scene or whatever, which I don't think anybody, I would not condone anybody get out into the dating scene. Not because I don't think people should be dating, but I think that the dating scene is not conducive to divine unions. It's really designed for casual connections, and that's not to say that you can't be the exception and find the love of your life, your soulmate, your divine counterpart through that process. I just feel like the intention of most people going into that are getting instant gratification. It's all about instant gratification. And so if you're looking for something that's divine, something that is maybe more traditional, something that's, you know, monogamous, something that is grounded, that is very secure and balanced, right? Because you are karma, justice, balance. You're the scales. You need balance. You may not find it in that situation. The likelihood of you finding it in that situation is very limited, right? Bumble and Tinder and whatever else is out there. But energetically speaking, to open yourself up and to make yourself receptive to love, especially new love, because these are singles readings, can be quite scary. You know, and you guys are, your polar sign is Aries, which is the boss of the zodiac, and so Libras have a tendency to be quite bossy, right? And that doesn't necessarily mean pejoratively, right? But they have that boss energy, they have that leadership quality, because they are the they have that polarity link to the boss of the zodiac, the OG leader. And so it's like you guys are the co-managers of the zodiac. And so when you've been in that mode, when you've been leading the way, when you've been doing things how you like them, when you've been, I mean, if you're single, we've got the hermit here, right? So if you've been single, if you've been in hermit mode, you've been doing things yourself, it's kind of like, I don't know that I want to deal with somebody else, or letting somebody else take the reins, especially for the feminine, because masculine leads in 3D, and that can be the greatest challenge for feminine Libras, is that they have masculine leading elements, and so they're typically more in their masculine energy. So it can be difficult to get into a receptive energy, right? This high priestess with an unguarded heart would be in the Empress, right? And you are the Empress. Libra is the Empress. So to get into the Empress energy, I feel like you need to come back to earth. There's something about getting into your fixed nature, your earth nature, getting into that feminine, nurturing space, and Aries is the most overtly masculine sign. It's double fire. And then Taurus is the most overtly feminine sign because it's double earth. And then air and water are both in the mutable range, right? They're sort of ambiguous, androgynous, because they're based on the unseen current of the cosmos, right? And then the elements themselves are based on a current that we can't see. We don't see the current. It's all about kind of feeling, but swords and air, which you are, is masculine leaning, and then water is feminine leaning. But there's that, it's sort of the gray area, and then there's black and white with fixed and cardinal, or earth and fire. So maybe you're just meeting somebody, maybe you're just trying to figure out, yeah, we have the 9 of Swords, sleepless nights. You're trying to figure out, there's a lot of fear here about the prospect of getting into something new or allowing somebody new in. I feel like you were, you know, tremendously, intensely hurt by a previous connection. Maybe your parents had a very tumultuous relationship, where, you know, just the idea of love that was instilled into you and the idea of relationships instilled into you as your primary caregivers, whatever that looked like for you, I think made it almost seem impossible. This idea, this dream, you know, and you guys are the, you know, airheads of the zodiac, as in you guys are the cheerleaders of love, and you are sort of la la la, very dreamy, you know, very sensual, very into a place that is sort of intangible to other people, or other people don't necessarily know what you're doing, why you're doing it, but you do. And for a long time you might not have known why you were doing the things you were doing, and that made you kind of second guess your actions. But I feel like with the masculine, to confirm this guarded heart energy, there's someone is very much in their head. They're very much blocked of their sight, right? The High Priestess is Pisces, it's the third eye. And then we have this Nine of Swords, which is sleepless nights. And see how they're covering their eyes, they're covering their face. It's like monkey see, monkey do, monkey hear, or see no evil, speak no evil, hear no evil, see no evil. Maybe if you're the masculine, you did deal with some, you know, abuse or a lot of fighting, a lot of chaos in your childhood, and maybe this is you kind of at night. Now their legs are under their blanket, but looking at it from this direction, it kind of looks like their legs are behind them. So maybe you prayed a lot. Yeah, something in the throat chakra. You prayed a lot, you were quiet a lot. So like your communication was stifled in a place where, and swords are all about communication, but it's like you're talking to yourself, because 9 is a number of self and independence. So it could be that you were, I just see a child, you know, like on their knees praying to God, you know, make this stop, or, you know, help. And maybe your prayers were not answered in the direct sense, but you're here, right? So that means that you are a cycle breaker. That means that you recognize the pattern was not for you. It's not for the collective. It's not divine. And so your work that you've done on yourself is to nurture that part of yourself, that inner child that was afraid of love. Because, you know, it reminds me of Practical Magic with Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman, where when they're little girls, and there's a woman that comes into their, you know, they're witches, and their aunts are witches, and there's a woman that comes in that wants to do like a love spell on this guy who is unrequited love, right? And I think did they kill a crow? The crow is the Native American zodiac, the raven, the crow is the Native American zodiac for Libra. And so they stab it through the heart. Or maybe it's a dove, but anyway. Dove, love, glove. But I do see that sort of like something through the heart, which is like the Three of Swords. And if I'm imagining a crow or a raven, yeah, something broke your heart. There's definitely three of Swords energy. And so you're like, oh, well, I'm not going to deal with that heartbreak anymore. But the little girls are sitting in the stairwell and they're looking at this situation going on, the madness that is love. And the one sister, Sandra Bullock's little self, is like, and she is a Libra, or she's a Leo, and Nicole Kidman's a Gemini. So you could be dealing with a Leo or Gemini. You could have those placements. Maybe those are your parents, right? Something about those signs could be vital to those could be signs or indicators to you. But her character's like, I don't ever want to fall in love. I don't ever want to fall in love. And then Nicole Kidman's character, who's the la 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 one, she's seems a little more Libra, you know. She seems a little more like cheerleader for love. It's like she's like, I can't wait to fall in love, you know. So there's something in that. Maybe it just, that's what you want. That's what we all want. Let's be real. That's why we're here. Is you want the love, you want that passion and that adoration, but you have witnessed and dealt with a lot of unrequited love, and the unrequited love will make a person crazy, right? It will drive them mad, because we're told we need to love ourselves and that we are special, we are all God's children. Maybe you grew up in you know, a religious home, but it's like, you know, we're told that we are worthy of love, but then very seldom is that mirrored back to us if we're looking to the external, right? If we grow up and we're codependent, if we have abandonment issues, any sort of neglect of our own love language by our parents, any outright abuse, physical, mental, emotional, it's manipulation, anything like that, gaslighting. We're told a different story. We're shown a different story than we're told. So it can be hard to believe that we're even worthy of love. So maybe the feminine is really struggling with worth of love. Although I do feel like they have a confidence about them that is that says I am worthy of love. Like they, you know, they look like they're doing everything well. And maybe the masculine is watching the feminine. Maybe they've already kind of selected their feminine, and they're looking at them, and they could be feeling like they're unworthy of them. They don't have enough to offer them. They are not enough. You know, and is it Garth Brooks that sings the song, you know, unanswered prayers? Sometimes I thank God for unanswered prayers. You know, maybe it was like you prayed for your dad to come back, or for your mom to, you know, stop taking them back. Whatever it was, there was some sort of turmoil with the parents, with the parental situation, that maybe you prayed for a different outcome, but the outcome that you got put you on this path of healing yourself, healing the cycle, being the cycle breaker, and you are transmuting all of that negative, toxic energy into something that is divine, and that's how you're going to attract the right person for you. And I feel like you guys are, you know, our divine counterparts are very similar to us in that, at our core, right? They might be opposites attract, but they're at the core, we are the same as our person, right? Because we've made each other for each other. So you guys have made each other, you designed each other, and so it's, you come from the same star, Aquarius energy, you came from the same star, so it's like you are, your path is going to have some similarities, some very seemingly unlikely similarities that maybe seem very specific to you two. You know, maybe that vision of you two, one of you was reluctant to get into love because of your upbringing, and the other one just dove into it, dove into the madness, dove into the passion, dove into, maybe they dove into casual connections, right? But it's like where you guys come together, it's your different paths, or like the minor, they're not minor, but the few and far between similarities in your path actually put you guys in the same place, the same time, the right time. We have High Priestess again, so yeah, you could be dealing with a Pisces. But see, this Pisces is, this High Priestess, she has the Torah, B, J, maybe those letters mean something to you. 2, maybe you're a life path 2. 2 is also Gemini, the Lovers, Two of Cups. But we have, and there's this cross at her center here, the High Priestess, and there's Torah there, which reminds me of Taurus, which is the Empress, right? It's like someone is coming out of this Empress energy. You could be dealing with a Taurus, but this is more like, this person looks more grounded, and they're not reluctant. They're watchful. They're going to look at whatever offers come in. They're going to consider them. They're not going to accept all of them. That's the Empress, only accepts an emperor. So yeah, maybe you're dealing with, maybe the feminine. There's something, it could be same sex, but I feel like there's something with the, maybe the feminine is more masculine leaning and the masculine is more feminine leaning, right? And that could be in relation to your gender. That could be, maybe that's just the last piece in your puzzle. Like our challenge is to come into our righteous energy, right? So if you are, you could be a female that's more masculine leaning, and your sort of path is about getting you to a place where you're in your feminine energy so that you can attract. But your upbringing, your 3D life puts you in a place of having to do everything yourself. Like maybe you're the eldest child and you had to grow up faster, you had to take care of your younger siblings because of this, you know, the turmoil that you experienced as a child or something like that, right? And the High Priestess with the Virgo here, with the Hermit, is like, it's taking that first step, right? She doesn't look scared, but she looks just watchful. And that's not supposed to be ominous, like watch out. That's just, she's just cautious and but not fearful, right? It's like once you have the knowledge about a situation, you have the right tools. It's like you realize that you have the right tools. You know, you can live in a not so great area, but if you have weapons, you have security system, you have a gate, you have dogs, whatever, like you have your protective bubble. It's like you just have all the right tools to navigate this life, but I feel more specifically this love, right? You have all the right tools. You know, maybe you being a hopeful romantic made you fall for some bullshit. We'll just say that plainly. Maybe it just made you fall for some unrequited love, and made you fall for people who, we have the Ten of Swords here, you know, stabbed you in the back, deceived you. And it was like, you let them in close to you. And so there was this guarded energy of, I'm just not going to let anybody else close to me then. Because, you know, we've got the Fish here with Pisces. Also, Pisces and Virgo are polar signs. So yeah, you could be dealing with an Aries, because that's your polar sign. But I feel like this person is going to feel like you're opposite in all the right ways, and they're going to feel exactly like you in all the right ways, right? So it's like, they're different than you in all the ways that challenge your ego, that make you grow, but they are the same as you at your core. In the spirit, you guys are the same. You're very much aligned. But it's like, now you have a rear view mirror. Your intuition, which is a High Priestess, right? It's like, if you're guarding your heart, you're blocking off one of your chakras, your heart chakra, then all of your chakras will be influenced by that over time. So you cannot see through your third eye. You cannot use your intuition. You can't trust your gut if you're like this. If you're doubled over, it's like stomach cramps. Yeah, maybe you dealt with a lot of anxiety in the gut. You know, it's like 85% or whatever of our immune system is in our gut microbiome. But energetically or physically, if you're hunched over, if you're closing that off, your diaphragm is constricted, you're not breathing properly, you can get diaphragmatic spasms or like cramping your psoas muscles, you know, which run down the whole front of your abdomen here into the hip flexors. From being in this fetal position, from being in like a guarded place, those can get very tight. So physically you might be dealing with some pain like that. If you have back pain, right, then that means your back is weak, right? It's too long, it's been stretched out. So there needs to be a strength put into the back and a length put into the front. So there's just a little bit of that. Maybe you're just getting into, maybe you are considering your health. You're just changing some things about your diet to help with your gut microbiome, to help with disrupted digestion. Virgo is, over the digestive system and the diaphragm. And then the High Priestess is here. So if you have blockages in these middle chakras, then you're not going to be able to access the higher ones, right? And so if there's constipation or anything like that, that's the root chakra, that's the lower ones, right? So that's kind of that fixed earth energy is getting into the lower placements and catering to those, so you can open all of them up, and then that way you can get that fearless confidence that comes from opening the heart space. And once you have that, you trust your gut, right? Like martial artists, they usually walk on their toes, like children when they first learn to walk. They walk on their toes. They're more front leaning because they're ready. They're like prepared. What is it? Friends? Unagi. You haven't seen Friends. Ross is talking about how he used to do karate, and there's unagi, which is being like situational awareness. It's like you have this awareness, you're building that up, or you've built that up, depending on where. I'm seeing a lot of anxiety in this current energy. So that could, it's divine timing, right? It's non-linear, so you know where you are. This could be the past for you. You could be in this place of being open and being ready for love and feeling like, okay, yeah, I've put all that behind me. I did experience these fears and all of that, but it's coming out of this place. So if you're in this place of that fear and guarding yourself, it's becoming aware. And because you are masculine leaning with fire and air, masculine is about the 3D, it's about the physical. So you may need some more practical approaches to healing your spiritual body, right? And when something's disrupted in the spirit or the emotional body, right, the unseen body, it will represent itself in the physical body, right? You'll start to have back pain, and you'll be like, why do I have back pain? Energetically, emotionally, you're in a fear-based state. You're on your phone, you're hunched over at your desk, you are sitting a lot, you're driving a lot, you're it's a reaction, it's a guarded fetal position, it's our most protected state. And so if you might not even realize that you're in that place. But if you're depressed, if you've been in hermit mode, maybe there's something in the Virgo reading for you, because there was a lot about their health and being in that mode. And there's some small advice about, taking supplements, doing minor movements, opening the body up. If you're like bedridden, or if there's any sort of like depression or mental illness, right? This will be clouded. Your third eye, your intuition will be clouded, because if you've been gaslit and you've been manipulated, or had any sort of deceptive goings on, then you might feel crazy, you might feel imbalanced. And that's at the center of your reading here, is balance. So, and there's death here, right? Now that could be a person passing away. Maybe you have an attachment. We have the High Priestess and the dead fish here. Maybe you dealt with a Pisces. We have the Page of Cups and the Five of Cups and the Two of Swords. So death is also about relinquishing an old cycle. So it may be about leaving something behind, or maybe somebody passed, or something ended. Could be a literal death, could be a metaphysical death, energetic death. Maybe you moved a different place. So, you know, we are attracted to our parents energetically, right? They make us up genetically. So there are parts of us that are actually, we're just attracted to parts of ourselves. But because the only physical representation of those parts of ourselves that we've ever seen were perhaps and most likely toxic, and chaotic, because we are children of chaos. If you're here to break a cycle. If the cycle was not broken, you wouldn't need to break it, right? You would need to re-break it, and paint some gold in there. Is that kitsune? The kitsune is a fox. Anyway, there's something that starts with a K. That's the art of painting the gold in between the broken stuff. I've looked it up a million times. I know what it is, but I can't think of the word right now. But if you know, you know. If you don't know, Google it. But there is, it's like you know, our path, our purpose is to fall in love with those parts of ourselves, which calls for a releasing of the shadow aspects. And the only way that we can get the skeletons out of the closet is by opening the door. So we do that shadow work, we get in there, we excavate, we do the inventory, we analyze, we problem solve, we nurture, right? You might have been doing shadow work and self work, but maybe it was more practical, maybe it was more intellectual. And so there could just be a need to, again, get into your earthy nature, and you're like, maybe I don't have an earth placement. That's fine. You are the Empress as Libra, and your sister sign to that, that you share Venus with, or that Venus shares you with, is Taurus. So you have this this tool in your toolbox, right, to use. It's right there. You can just say, hey sis, can I borrow that? Maybe you have a sister that's a Taurus. Maybe you have an earth sign sister, or a fixed sign sister, that you can kind of borrow some of their very feminine, nurturing, very grounded energy from, to kind of help heal this situation, right? So with the Page of Cups, we have it could be an apology, but I feel like to elevate and to ascend and to truly break a cycle when you come into divine union, or when you're approaching divine union, you got the Two of Swords here, and with the Ten of Swords, the Nine of Swords, right? It's like releasing one cycle to accept a new. So maybe you were attracted to the toxic versions of yourself that were represented in one or both of your parents, and through your process of self-analyzation and self-inventory, you've looked at those shadows, you've looked at those pieces, and you said, oh, yeah, I was always attracted to unrequited love because, you know, I got daddy issues, or, you know, there was infidelity in my parents, so I was, maybe you were the one who cheated, maybe you were, or, you know, you just allowed people to, you took people back that were deceptive, that kept cheating on you. You accepted it. It's like taking accountability for the fact that what you were attracted to, like attracts like, and so if you were attracted to that, it's because some part of you thought it needed that. Which is, you know, we all have shadow aspects, and that's why we do this work. But it's, and maybe, yeah, one of the parents was, I don't know where I was going with that. It's gone now. So hopefully there was something in there. And if it doesn't come back to me, then, but we have the Five of Cups, the Page of Cups. You know, maybe you had like, you have experiences. I mean, we're attracted, essentially attracted to our parents, and then that just mirrors itself in all of our relationships, in our friendships, in our romantic relationships, in work, right? We take the jobs, we apply for the jobs that we feel worthy of. And so if we're always applying for, if we're always dating, if we're always putting ourselves out there for like lower frequency, like easy jobs, easy connections, superficial stuff, then that tells us that's what we think we're worth, right? So there's a review here. That's what hermit mode is for, right? So if you're in this mode of being fear-based, sit in it for a minute and talk to your fears and write them down, maybe some journaling, because I do feel tinges in the throat chakra, and with the communication here with all these swords, there's a conversation that needs to be had before you come into divine union that says, oh, this is the shadow aspect of the love language that I think I deserve because my true love language was never spoken, right? So, yeah, maybe if you don't know your love language, you can look that up. But if you start doing this review, you'll know that I do feel like there's quite a big gap, because this does feel current. So I feel like this is quite a big gap between, and this isn't to say a long time, because this can all click together. Divine timing is, it's not measured on a clock or on a calendar. It's measured on a frequency, right? So this can all click together for you, and you can go, oh, that's why I was with these people. You have that epiphany, and it can happen all at once where you're just like, oh, I don't want that anymore. That doesn't serve me. It's like when you quit, drinking or doing drugs, you're just like, oh, this doesn't serve me anymore. And it's usually a moment where you just go, I'm done, right? It's that decision, all at once to make that decision, which is fixed energy. Fixed energy is decisive, right? So it's like once you lock into that, you say, I'm done with that. That's the root chakra, that's Saturn, that's Capricorn, that's releasing, eliminating. Could be physically, there could be emotional constipation going on, right? And needing to physically change your diet so that you are getting fiber and you're hydrating, right? Because if you want love, consume more water, right? Which could be, maybe you have a dry throat. Maybe you have a lot of throat issues. You lose your voice a lot. You have a raspy voice. There could be something in your throat chakra that's because you're not speaking your truth. You're not saying this is what I want, because you haven't claimed it as being a truth for you. You've been speaking the lies of other people. The truths of other people are lies to you. So it's like you've been speaking those into existence and calling in things that are not aligned with you. And this is that decision, Two of Swords, right? It's like this unseen decision. There's more covering of the eyes. So there is that watchful thing. There is that advice here that to just look, be aware, and also they're covering their physical eyes, but we have the High Priestess twice to look through your third eye. It's like I feel like you're in the midst of, or you're about to embark on this self journey, this shadow work, that other people are going to think you're fucking crazy. And you just have to stay with what you know. You have to go with your gut. You have to trust yourself. And that may, with Hermit mode, Virgo, is what I will always, I don't say always, will always, but it is what I currently consider the first step to shadow work. Because you need to go within and do that self-inventory. And usually, it's impossible to do with all the clutter around you, right? So you have to kind of go into your hole and cancel plans and disconnect from people. And that's this sort of like death. To get this balance, you have to release things that don't serve you. right? You have to get into your Queen of Swords. But to get into the Queen of Swords, which is a very empowered and direct and decisive, discerning individual, which is mutable energy, you have to get into a place that is first fixed. Fixed energy is very all or nothing, right? So discipline leads to discernment, but you have to get into that place where you're like, nope, I'm doing what's right for me. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Like you just, maybe you've been, and I see a lot of twos here, 2 of Swords. There's the 2 major and two minor with the High Priestess, with the 2 of Pentacles, right? We got the High Priestess again. So there's a decision here between 2 things, and that's always the past and the future, right? And that's being in the now, which is fixed, which is earth energy. It's that center point between staying and going, right? All right, ways to tap into your earth energy, ways to tap into that, practical ways, spending time in nature, standing barefoot, you know, and with all these swords here, this clutter of swords, this gaggle of swords, I'm gonna put this down here because my feet are freezing. Is the 4 of Swords. The 4 of Swords is the meditation. It's sitting with yourself, and it's acknowledging the thoughts. It's acknowledging the fears. So if you're focused, meditation is not about clearing all thoughts. It's about focusing on them. Horton Hears a Who is the thing that it's the reference I always use for meditation and thoughts, because the mayor of Whoville has 99 kids or whatever, and he has a timer, and he spends just like, I don't know, 30 seconds or 60 seconds or 10 seconds or whatever it is with each one of them, and they're all flourishing. All of his thoughts, aka his children, are flourishing. They're in sports, they're doing well in school, they feel loved because they've had that quality time. They've had that, you know, quality is not quantity. This is balancing the idea of love. There could have been, with codependency, there could have been like a neediness. Page of Cups again. I feel like you have somebody that's going to come back and try and apologize. Could be a parent. A lot of talk of parents in this one. It could be a past connection, which tomato, right? Again, like we just look for those things that we received or didn't receive from our parents in our connections. But a Page of Cups is just not fit for a queen of Swords, right? And certainly not for an Empress, right? But we have the King of Pentacles, the Page of Pentacles. There's quite a few here, so I'll just go through them. That Page of Cups, the Tower of the World. So we've got Death in the Tower. Could be dealing with a Scorpio. You could be a Scorpio cusper. Could have a placement, but that's all about death. And with the 2 of Swords, the Tower, that's an unexpected change. Something is going to happen. And with that death I was getting, maybe the parent that you've been sort of tethered to, or the idea of love that you've been tethered to, is going to end with a literal death. There could be a literal death coming that is that's going to, right, because we always remember people posthumously very well, right? At funerals and memorials, people are always saying all the great things about people. When you disconnect, when you go into hermit mode, you can have an energetic funeral for all the people that you kind of leave behind, because they can't come with you. Most people don't. And initially they can't come with you on the divine path. You just have to do that on your own. And maybe they'll come back around, but that's not really your concern. Your only concern is yourself. And yes, that sounds selfish. Who cares? Like you have to self-serve so that you can get to your higher frequency, because giving your energy to other people does not make you a better person, right? It makes you drained. It makes you bitter. It makes you resentful. which inevitably makes you conditional with your love. So sometimes the only way that we can love someone unconditionally is to leave them behind. I would say that's the only way, the best way. If you love it, let it go. Like, you have to leave people to their own path and their own process, or lack thereof. And so sometimes, if we don't do that work, I don't want to say the universe will kill them off, but because of their path, if they're not healing, maybe the universe knows all and sees all, and all of this has already happened. So maybe they've already experienced a cycle here, and they're not healing it. They're not doing the work. And so it might be part of their path that this life cycle end, and that they be recycled into being a cycle breaker, right? Like, they may need to choose. So that's between them and the divine. That's not your concern, but I do feel like maybe someone is going, like, if you haven't removed them from your energy, you haven't done that cord cutting process, you haven't allowed them to pass into their own path, and you're trying to carry them with you, it's I feel like something is going to work out. And this could be a lover that maybe if they were a narcissist, they like keep coming back with these pages of swords, like, I'm sorry. If you had like an abusive, neglectful alcoholic, or addicted, maybe there was addiction growing up, maybe they were a cheater. I do feel like there's a paternal issue here, but the paternal issues are also maternal issues, right? Because the mother is the one who chooses the masculine, the father of their child. The woman chooses, in most cases, of course. There are a select few cases where they don't choose who they reproduce with, but that's a different story. But I feel like you witness a mother maybe taking a father back, or vice versa, but somebody was always running and someone was always chasing. There was a lot of sorries going on. So maybe you've accepted someone back multiple times. The 10 of Swords is the 5 of Swords. It's deception, it's blocked, it's blocked communication, it's lies, it's deceit. And it's a cycle, it's over and over. It's 5, and it becomes 10. And then 10 becomes 1, and it starts all over again, until you decide with this 2 of Swords to end that shit. And so if you make that decision, and that could be the advice here, is it's like you cannot heal if you are still drinking the poison. And so it's like, maybe you feel obligated to stay connected with this parent, but the more you stay connected with them, the more those shadow aspects of you are triggered or drawn into accepting lower vibrational connections. And to get out of that, I feel like you need to get out of there. You need to move, you need to stop talking to them, you need to disconnect completely. No communication, no contact. No contact is the only effective remedy for a narcissist. So if you have a narcissistic parent or a narcissistic ex, again, tomato, tomato, the reason you're attracted to a narcissist as a lover is because you experienced that growing up. This is very heavy inner child work here, and reparenting yourself, right? Through shadow work on the divine path, we have to remother and refather ourselves, because to be on the divine frequency is to be balanced in your holy trinity, which is the divine masculine, divine feminine, and the divine creation, right? You can call that me, myself, and I. You can call that body, mind, and spirit. Those are whatever you subscribe to is going to balance those energetically anyway. So if you heal your physical body, then your emotional, spiritual body, it will be balanced. It will bring balance to that. Now that is if you truly are in a balanced physical state, not necessarily being physically hot and like going to the gym and like doing all the superficial stuff. That's not healing your physical body. That might make it look good to society, but healing it, truly healing it, is getting back to your nature. And to strip all of that down means you have to strip all of the clutter outside of you. And that's the most affecting things are connections with people. So for cycle breakers, we are empathic, therefore we tend to be codependent, right? And if you were raised by a narcissist, you're probably a co-narcissist. It's like, stop forgiving them, stop, forgiveness is always like, you need to forgive people, you need to forgive yourself. You can't forgive someone who didn't ask for forgiveness, and you don't need to forgive yourself. What are you forgiving yourself for? They're a fucking asshole. Like, let them be an asshole. Leave them alone, and then you can just continue to make changes, right? With people, the only, what is it? Change is like the only acceptable apology, that's the word. And so it's like, if they haven't said sorry, you just change the frequency. You change you heal that. Knock it off, please. Libra. Just whining. She's ready to go out into the sun. So yeah, maybe going and laying in the sun, going outside and grounding yourself. But yeah, the only acceptable apology is change, or the only true apology is changed behavior, right? And so it's like, if they're not even asking for forgiveness, they're not even apologizing, you can change the behavior, your behavior, and that heals the lineage. Page of Pentacles and King of Pentacles, the Chariot, Ace of Swords. So yeah, this is making that decision, Two of Swords, and this is like Queen of Swords energy here. This is someone who's very decisive, and see how they have this vine? They have this earth energy that's protecting them and shielding them. It's like they're very grounded. They are tethered to the ground. See the roots? I got no roots. Maybe you moved around a lot. The Chariot. The Chariot is following your heart. It's listening to your heart. But see how they have this shield here? There's this protection. There's this very physical protection. And, it may have to be, blocking people and just continuing on your path, doing what you know is right for you. They're going to call you crazy. They're going to call you selfish. They're going to call you high and mighty on your high horse. You think that you're better than us. No, you're just making the changes that serve your highest good. So, those lower vibrations, those shadow people, those vampires, those narcissists, all of those people, and, they're typically family members, those closest to you, they need a healthy host. And so the healthier that you get, the more they're gonna like, no, we want you back, So that could be the Page of Cups. You could have people from your past trying to come in and give you a pseudo apology, but they're not changing the behavior. So you're changing the behavior of your ancestors and of your lineage for them. So this is more a divine path reading than a divine union. I mean, we have the Page of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles, so maybe the more that you get into your earth aspects, you're going to have the Page of Pentacles is like the only trustworthy page because they are slow and steady. A Page of Pentacles has done they actually have something solid, something tangible to offer. And see how they have this giant wrench here? It's like they've been doing the work. And they have a king, and because he came out with the King of Pentacles, I do feel like you could be dealing with an earth sign, but this is somebody who is solid and stable, and someone who's going to offer you this balance. So again, divine union is always a frequency. It's with divine timing. It's when you get to a place where this all clicks together and you do the work for yourself. Now you can have this realization a week out of a relationship. That does not make you ready for a divine union, right? When we're talking about the hermit, I suggest a year. Being single for a year. Being with yourself for a year, which is a blip in your entire lifespan when you consider the fact that you have been codependent, you've been relying on the external to tell you how to feel, to tell you what to do, and maybe not directly, but energetically you have been allowing yourself to be swayed by and influenced by those around you. And so in order to really heal that, you need to spend all of the seasons with yourself. You need to go through each of the zodiac seasons with yourself as well. And really do those like quarterly inventories like you would with a business. Do it with yourself and see how a whole sun cycle really influences you, right? Because when it's just you influencing you, things look very different, right? And maybe you're like, I've done all this, I've been single for a year or more, and then that goes back to the beginning where it's this guarded energy, like you have the tools, right? This could just be me looking into the past part of your cycle. But for those who are not there yet, there was advice in there for them, all right? And so we really want all of the whole collective to be in this weight. Thank you. You know, we really want to raise the vibration of all of our zodiac signs, right? Of the whole collective, all right? Because otherwise we can do all this work here, and yeah, that's great for our path, and we can maybe do some shifting, but wouldn't it be a lot better if we had all the Libras out there getting, you know, breaking their own cycles, right? It's like, you know, whenever I hear readings or I talk with Tauruses, and I can just tell like they're very much in their shadow aspect, it's heartbreaking, because you want, it's like if you have siblings coming from the same household and they succumb to the shadow of your family, you know, your ancestry. It sucks to leave people behind. It sucks to be like, you know, you get kind of like survivor's guilt. It's like you figured it out and you did the work. So, you know, if this was more for those people, for those individuals that are really needing to break that cycle and really needing to just own their power. And, you know, if you feel like you're beyond that, then maybe the next reading will be for you. And maybe, you know, and if you feel like you're there, then you didn't need to hear anything here. Like, it just wasn't for you. But if you feel like, because I get a lot of this like, well, I figured it out, and there's like a competitive nature between the signs, between people, between between women, between men, between siblings. It's like there's like rivalry everywhere that just isn't serving the collective. It isn't serving the individuals, and it's not serving the collective. So I feel like there's a need to hold that space for the rest of us, right? And us being the collective we. It's not I, it's not me, it's us, it's we. It's all. So anyway, that was a heavy reading. I was kind of hoping that it would be, you know, like you're gonna receive a message this week or something, you know, kind of easy, but that's not where it went. So hopefully there was something in here for you. Until next time, I wish you well.